Hello everybody, welcome to Red Tool House. On today's video, we're going to kind of continue on where we left off Friday, and that's working on our brooder. So in Friday's video, we milled up the lumber that we needed to close in this fourth wall of the brooder building, and we're ready to put it together. So come check out what I've got going on here. So far today, and playing in the rain, I was able to get this side framed in, and as luck would have it, Kelly said something about it wouldn't be neat to have a window, and I thought, I think I've got a window somewhere in the barn. So sure enough, found an old window. Still in really good shape. Was actually part of the workshop, actually when it was our apartment when we lived in it. This was in the wall, and I took it out when I put the walk-in freezer in. So this guy's been around for a while. It's got a little crack in it. Actually had a crack in it when I put it in there because I got a really good deal on it. Mics have chewed a little hole in the screen, but other than that, it's a perfectly functioning window. So let's make this chicken brooder a little upper class with some windows in it. So due to the fact that I've put all this framing together with green lumber, I put it together with screws because obviously it's going to move. It's going to warp, it's going to bow, it's going to pull apart. So hopefully the screws will allow me to come back and tighten some things up if I need to, or obviously just add additional screws. So my next step I want to work on is starting the lap siding. So again, if you watched our video, you would see that I had milled this 2/4 by 7 or 1/2 inch by 7 inch wide poplar. And obviously we're going to cut it to the proper length, and we're going to lap it on the side here. I'll probably pre-drill my holes since this is extremely green, extremely wet, and it'll want to split and crack even with pre-drilling, so I want to slow that down a bit. But really excited to put this poplar up. I like using poplar simply because if you can keep it off the ground, then it will harden and actually turn into stone. It to me gets just as hard as oak. If you come back, of course this is only 1/2 inch, but if you came back later after this is dried out and gotten hard and go to put a nail in it, it's a little tough to do. So to kind of dress this up, make it look more finished, and just have a nice little detail. So I know some of you are gasping and all, what? Troy's actually going to put some detail in something? I'm going to put these corner pieces on. This is, again, just some extra 1x material that we milled in our last video, and it'll be a good starting point. I can attach this to both ends, and my lap siding will butt up here against it, so I'll have a nice finished look. You won't be able to come here and look at the corner and see all the laps all the way down, which would look unfinished. Now granted, I don't have lap siding all the way around this, so I don't have a corner on this side to dress up, but I could come back and trim that out if I wanted to. If I put trim in the chicken coop before I finish trimming the house, though, Kelly may club me like a baby seal. But that's what we're going to do first. And I've also got I ripped down some pine that we had milled earlier because I want to do the same thing around the door frame. But if I put a full size, 3.5 inch wide, then I'll lose my nailer. I'd have to come back and put another 2x4, another nailer here to nail my siding to. And all I really want to do is have a nice little finished trim piece. So I got some 1x material here from pine that I ripped down to 1. So it's 1x1. And I'll put that in place, and that'll be another little area to have a starter. All right, so last night I finished up the lap siding, got it all in place. Building's not exactly square, so there's a couple places I had to cheat, but all this rough building, when I go back to ever build a woodworking project, it's going to be impossible for you to make something square again. Anyway, so the next step, of course, is to make the door. And I want to make a door that swings in, and it needs to be critter proof, of course. We need to be able to keep possums and raccoon out. So we're going to build that out of rough pine that I've got that's been dry for a bit, and see if we can get a little more stability in that. So that's our next project. So what's 32 divided by 5? That's what I need to do.
It's usually about 6.2.
I left 2 lug nuts to work with Bessie. Alright, so we got the door all built and put in place and fitted. I'll show you how this works. I'm gonna get a better latch next time the world opens back up. This is just something I had in the bin, but just a simple little eye hook here, which is very strong to hold a door this size. But opens fine. And you saw where I had to take my hand plane and plane the door, this door edge down. A lot of good to make a perfectly square door when you don't have a perfectly square building. So we had to do a little bit of whittling on the threshold and of course true up that edge. But she closes. Just use some barn hinges on the inside. Now what'll happen is, of course, since this wood was green to some degree, it will I'll come down here next week and the door will be half the size. So the next thing I'll do, and I'll probably do that just in another video when we get our chicks, is I'm just going to put a temporary wall from that wall here to the door frame. And the chicks are actually going to be on that side of the building. So that will allow me to have this corner here. I'm going to put my 55-gallon drum that I can dump all my chick feed in. You put some shelves up here, do that type of stuff. Have a little storage. And that way also when I open the door, I don't have to worry about chicks rushing out. They'll be in that side. And according to the square footage, I think it's what, 1/4 square foot per chick for the first 4 weeks of growth, which they'll only be in here 4 weeks, is this 4x8 section here. That gives me enough for up to 120 chicks, and we ordered 100. So we should be good to go on the size there. They shouldn't outgrow that before it's time to go out on the pasture. Well, because of adding the window, and of course just calculating the amount of square footage I need for siding, not including the door, I still have I have exactly half, actually more than half, because I got an extra board up at the workshop. So I have 11 siding pieces left, and it looks like 4 2x4s left. Well, it's time to move on to the next project. Since we got this one knocked down, chicks should be in next week, so we'll obviously detail that when that happens. All right, take care, everybody.